Welcome to Analysing Television. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for taking a look at different topics and situations with TV. I'm going to work on the intro. I'm your host Matthew, and just wanted to do the pilot episode, I suppose you could call it, of Analysing Television, which is fairly self-explanatory. I'm going to be taking a look at different situations, different themes, different topics, just a whole bunch of array of different things, really, in the world of television. It won't all be based on one thing, or one network, or one streaming service. This isn't going to be a series that's tied down to anything necessarily, other than, television itself. But I wanted to start off with the first episode, which is going to be taking a look at some of the US, not just streaming services, but network TV channels, and obviously cable and everything really in the world of US TV, and taking a look at the deals that could be done for UK television that would really help out certain situations, certain things as well. So I'll get into all that in a minute. I just wanted to explain quickly that this little mini series is going to be on the TV Talk feed for Entertainment Talk. So if you want to find that, of course you can find everything anyway on entertainmenttalk.org. But if you search for Entertainment Talk on iTunes podcast platforms, you can either subscribe to the main Entertainment Talk feed, or for these particular episodes, the TV Talk feed, which is basically our just general TV feed for everything really. So the schedule for this is going to be sporadic. It's going to be when I have something to talk about. I mean, I've got a lot of different things and a lot of different areas of television that I want to talk about, like specific analysis of different things. And I've got a bunch of notes here for this episode, a bunch of different networks and streaming services and cable channels and that sort of stuff for the US. But yeah, sporadic series is just going to be when I've got an idea, when I know what to do with that idea, because I might have, I might do a little bit of brainstorming and then a topic could come into my head, but I might have to think about the topic a little bit and what exactly I want to talk about with it, and then I will do the episodes when I'm ready to do them. Basically, there's going to be no schedule for this. This is just going to be a sporadic little mini series, if you want to call it. I don't know how many episodes I'll end up doing. We'll see how successful things end up being. But that's the general simple gist of how this is going to go. So there's that. What I want to look at today is the US channels and streaming services that don't have full deals with UK channels or streaming services. So what do I mean by that? Well, you've got situations where Warner's HBO, of course, and they've got a deal with Sky at the moment, which is most of, not all of, because some of their shows have popped up on BBC, which is strange and interesting. But for the most part, most of their big shows, Game of Thrones, Westworld, just to name a few recent examples, Lovecraft Country, which is currently airing at the moment, are pretty much guaranteed to be on one of the Sky channels, whether it's Sky Comedy, Sky Atlantic, Sky Living, Sky One. Is up to Sky to sort of decide, I suppose. Although, if it's a comedy show, it's going to go on Sky Comedy, like Betty for HBO, the recent comedy skateboarding series. So that's the situation where, for the most part, with HBO shows. Now, bear in mind I said HBO and not HBO Max. We're going to get into that a little bit later, because HBO Max doesn't have a deal with anyone at the UK at the moment, because Raised by Wolves, the Ridley Scott TV show, is not airing anywhere in the UK at the moment, and I'm going to get into all sorts of reasons as to why that's a problem for UK audiences. Some of them are fairly obvious, some of them are maybe not so obvious, but we're going to get into all of it. Another example is FX. So I'm talking at the moment about deals that are put in place, just to give you different examples of deals that are put in place, and then I'll get into deals that aren't put into place, just to sort of explain things a little bit. Getting on to the first example, FX, who have got a deal with the BBC, not for their back catalogue of shows, but they've got a deal at the moment which is for all new FX shows, such as the Mayans, the Sons of Anarchy spin-off show, Devs, which is an FX show, which is on BBC as well. Those are all going to be given homes for the UK on the BBC. Whether or not that's box set or the next day or the next week or whatever, that remains to be seen a little bit, because sometimes that can vary. But for the most part, with FX shows at the moment, if you're looking forward to a new FX show, it will be on BBC. So that's one example. Adult Swim, which is of course the adult. It's on the same network as Cartoon Network. It's sort of tied in with them, but it's obviously the far more adult version than Cartoon Network. They've got to deal with all four at the moment, to where new things such as Rick and Morty, arguably Adult Swim's biggest show, does have a UK home as well. So if there's going to be the next season of Rick and Morty or some of the previous seasons and stuff, they're going to be getting shown either on Channel 4 or E4. It could be a different version of 4, so it could be either Channel 4 or E4, but they've got to deal with all four as well, to where there's quite a lot of Adult Swim stuff on all four, the on-demand Channel 4 streaming service at the moment. So that's another example of a deal that has been done. So just to kind of explain that a little bit. I won't get into too many more of them, because otherwise we'll be here all day.
Hey there, I'm Aaron Holman, host of Eye to Eye, a weekly podcast talk show all about passion.
I have this passion and this fire within me that burns brighter than the fire around me.
Flow.
With performing, there's always a story to tell, whether it's my own or not.
And creativity.
I go, he's more than cute, he's creative.
All with an LGBT twist. Make sure to check out Eye to Eye, that's EYE, number 2, letter I. And rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in today.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are Killer Fun. We explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week.
For as long as people have been communicating, they have been talking about who did what to whom, and is that socially acceptable?
Because the boundaries of society,
crime,
and entertainment have always gone hand in hand.
The more salacious,
or weird,
the better. From books and movies
to television shows and games,
we look at how life and art imitate and inform one another.
And we can't get together and not laugh. So let's face it, there's going to be laughing.
Killer Fun is available anywhere you listen to podcasts, so join us.
If you'd like to get started with a domain name and a website today, just click on the link in the show notes and that will take you over to Koalu to get started. They also have a live support chat system that you can use, which is in the bottom right hand corner. So get started with a new website and domain name today with Koalu. Hey everybody, if you would like to get the ad-free versions of all of our podcasts and support Entertainment Talk along the way, all you need to do is head over to patreon.com/entertainment talk. Sign up either as a creator or as a Patreon. There's no difference there. That's just the option for either becoming a creator now or just staying as a patron for the moment. And then all you need to do is support us at the $1 level tier. That will get you access to all of the ad-free podcasts that we've done in the past, and get you access to all the ad-free podcasts in that month as well. So it's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also become a patron at the $3 level tier. That gets you access to ad-free podcasts and allows you to redeem a review of a TV show or a film of entirely your choice. That's one per month for either a TV show or a film review, which is at the $3 level tier. As always, thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. So I've written down a bunch of networks and streaming services that, although some of their shows do have UK homes, they don't have deals put in place to where, like, all FX shows go to BBC. All of, if not most of, HBO shows go to Sky. That sort of thing. So the first one I've got is CBS and CBS All Access. Now the first example I want to give is CBS All Access, the home of Star Trek television pretty much at the moment. Star Trek Discovery, which is coming back soon for season 3, Star Trek Picard, and then you've got Star Trek Lower Decks. There's also the other one with Pike and Spock, but I can't remember the name of that, but that's not relevant at the moment. We'll see what happens with that in the 18 months to 2 years, whatever that's going to be. But they're getting obviously their own spin-off as well. Star Trek Discovery, of course, has the Netflix UK home. Next day on Netflix, they did recently confirm that season 3 would be the same. Star Trek Picard, which is obviously the Patrick Stewart's series and all that. That's got a deal at the moment with Amazon. So straight away, a different place, different streaming services. You have to pay separately for them, but we'll get into that in a second. Just to kind of set the example for that. Star Trek Lower Decks, the animated comedy, I guess it is. I haven't really seen much of it. Obviously, it doesn't have a UK home at the moment. The Star Trek animated series about, the engineers and whatever, the Lower Decks characters sort of thing. Doesn't have a UK home. It's about 5 or 6 episodes in, I think. I'm not sure because I haven't really kept track of the show. Doesn't have a UK home, doesn't have a UK air date in sight, and we've got no idea where it's going to show up. That's my first example. It would be quite good and quite helpful at the moment if there was a deal struck to where most of, if not all, CBS All Access shows had dedicated UK homes. Now, another example I want to give is the Twilight Zone, the newer version with Jordan Peele. Does air on Sky One. I don't think that's the next day or the next week. I think that's a few months later. I haven't kept particular track of that. But you've already got an example of 3 different shows in 3 different places. So Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is Netflix UK. Star Trek Picard, which still Star Trek, they're not connected directly or whatever, but it's still, Star Trek TV shows. Amazon, Star Trek Lower Decks, no UK home. And then you've got Twilight Zone, which is a CBS All Access show on Sky One. So 3 of them are in different places and one of them doesn't have a UK home. Now, I want to get into the first bit of discussion here, which is why this is a problem. One of the most obvious ones is spoilers. Character deaths, plot twists, plot revelations, new characters, plot detail reveals, character deaths, that sort of thing. General big spoilers. If someone dies or something in an episode, it could get to a situation. Now, I don't think this is going to be something too serious for something like Star Trek Lower Decks. That seems like a bit more of a sort of loose, fun kind of show, but someone could still die in that show, and you could still get spoiled on that. The pretty obvious thing I'm going for here is, let's say we get 6 months down the line from Star Trek Lower Decks airing, which would be, I think that would actually be some point next year, because I think it started in about September. Let's say we get to 2021, and we're 6 months after the air date of the first episode, and someone picks it up. I don't know whoever it would be. Someone picks it up. You might have already seen 2 character death spoilers and a whole bunch of other things. That's a pretty obvious problem. Another one is that, in a way, although it is a risk to, for UK channels, I'll just say channels and streaming services, although it is a risk at the end of the day to, put your money into to invest in a television show or in a whole network or whatever, whether it's just going to be for Star Trek Lower Decks or for all of CBS All Access or some of it or whatever, or just for their Star Trek shows, or there's different levels that you could do. There's the risk, obviously, that it doesn't work for whatever channel or streaming service that's going to be, whether it would be ITV. Let's say ITV make a deal with CBS All Access, and that happens, and they get, I don't know, so something else happens with that, right? And if it doesn't work out for ITV, that's maybe a loss for them. But then there's also the other issue that, at the end of the day, if you are a channel that wants more content, which I'm sure all of them are, you're going to want to try to look at some of these situations and think like, oh, no one's picked up that show. Let's take a look at it. Maybe not the whole entire network, but most of it, or parts of it maybe. So that's another issue to get into. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have time to get into examples for every single one. So I'm just gonna shout out a quick couple of examples. NBC and Peacock. Peacock is fairly new, isn't launched in the UK. So again, it's a situation where either for individual shows, who's going to give Peacock the best check or the best deal for whatever shows, whether it be the Bel Air thing, or I don't actually know what Peacock's got in development, to be honest, but for some of them. So that's another one, and then you've got two separate situations here, right? CBS is different to CBS All Access. There's different shows on different things, because for the normal TV channel for CBS, you can't get Star Trek Discovery. That's part of their premium streaming service, basically, type of thing. NBC is different as well. They have different shows to Peacock. Same company essentially. It's just sort of a free channel version, and then obviously you have the paid subscription version. So that's another example. ABC, they do have now. ABC is one of the best one of the better examples here, because ABC does have a lot of deals with Sky at the moment, but not with everything. I mean, they had the deal for a long time with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for of course the Marvel series, but that was with E4, completely different to Sky. But E4 has actually dropped Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was because of budget reasons or whatever. So at the moment, literally the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't have a UK home. Now, it could end up on Disney Plus at some point, but that's a bit of a guessing game. That's the next place that makes sense because, well, Disney. So that's another one. AMC. Now, you've got an interesting situation with AMC where, of course, Walking Dead is their current big thing. Of course, they've had, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, all those sorts of shows. So, luckily, in terms of the Breaking Bad universe, Breaking Bad, El Camino, Better Call Saul, that is all available on Netflix in the UK. Walking Dead, however, the main show is on Fox. That airs next day, 9 p.m. in the UK. Fear the Walking Dead, which airs on the weird BT AMC UK version, although you can get a season pass on the Microsoft Store, which is what I do every season. So that's in a completely different place. It's not even available on, you can't even, because if you have, presumably you've got Sky or Now TV to get access to Fox, you can't even get BT TV on that. You have to have a different box, which is just weird. So it's weird that they even made AMC UK a thing, but that's another situation. Walking Dead World Beyond, which is the upcoming Walking Dead spin-off show, is about this new young group, and it ties in certain ways and stuff. Amazon Prime UK, which is alright because Amazon are going to be showing it the next day, just the same way that Fear the Walking Dead does with AMC UK and The Walking Dead does with Fox UK. But all three of your shows, which are actually all tied together, because there's certain characters from The Walking Dead that have gone to Fear the Walking Dead, and Walking Dead World Beyond is going to have ties into both shows. So they are all connected in a similar way. It's not like, the DC shows that cross over really, in a really big way every year, but they are connected. All three of those shows are in completely different places, one of which isn't available in one of the places that the other shows are available in. So I'm obviously talking about Fear the Walking Dead on AMC UK. You can't get that on Sky. So that's a big issue. And then you've got, Amazon, again, which if you're on the Star Trek Picard side of things, you get Star Trek Picard and Walking Dead World Beyond, which are completely different shows from completely different companies. But obviously it's good that Amazon's picking up these shows. But do you get what I mean here? They're all in completely different places. So you got that. You've got Mad Men, which just got taken off of Netflix, and it was on Sky for a little bit. It's not on there at the moment. So as far as I'm aware, Mad Men doesn't have a UK home, so that's a bit of a problem. Those are the examples for AMC that I can think of. Fox in the UK just get their shows spread out all over the place, so that's another example. Here's a couple of the other really big ones as well. Hulu. One of Disney's, it's basically Disney's adult streaming service, because of course Disney Plus has got the PG-13 thing on it, and if, I'd be more inclined to say when, but if, let's just say if for now, if the Defender shows, Daredevil, Punisher ever come back, it's not going to be on Disney Plus, it's going to be on Hulu, unless things change. But for the moment, with what they're going with for the PG-13 Disney Plus thing, and what they're doing with Hulu, they'll very much most likely end up on that, or on FX. Which would actually mean that if the Defender shows ended up on FX, that they would end up on BBC, which would be an interesting change. They go from Netflix to BBC, at least for the UK. So, but Hulu has a case-by-case, a show-by-show basis. I think now, I think Hulu's a really, really big one, and I do think someone should make a complete overall deal with someone for Hulu. I don't know who would make the most sense necessarily, because I don't work for any of these companies, so I don't know about all of their business structures and things like that. But Hulu's a really, really big one. You've got a case-by-case basis. One example I can think of is Handmaid's Tale, which is on Channel 4, which airs relatively close to the Hulu date. Of course, they have the thing where it's 2 or 3 episodes to start the season and then 1 episode per week, which I quite like, actually. It's working out pretty well for the boys on Amazon Prime. But that is on Channel 4 only because they made a deal years ago, because the show's in its 5th, 6th season. I think season 6 is the next one. It might be season 5. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But that's another really big one. You know, pretty much any adult shows that Disney makes is either going to be, well, there's obviously ABC as well, but I've already talked about ABC. Pretty much most of ABC is also a network station, so they have their violence limits, I guess you could say. I don't think you couldn't see, just as a quick example, you couldn't really see Daredevil on ABC. I don't think that would really work. You'd have to pretty much put that on FX or on Hulu, which would either be BBC for the FX or anyone else. That's what I'm going to get into. One of the other things, it's a bit of an annoying thing where, like, let's say with the upcoming Marvel's Hellstrom series, no one knows in the UK where that's gonna end up. I mean, certain networks and streaming services might be talking to Hulu about that TV show, but yeah, that's another situation as well. So that's another one of them. Another really, really big one, and this is probably the biggest one here alongside Hulu, HBO Max. Now, I remember when David spoke, I think it was last year, because I think the HBO Sky deal was renewed in November of last year, I'm pretty sure. Why they didn't say, like, hey, HBO Max, this big upcoming streaming service that you've got, which is basically part of HBO as well, why you didn't just try to include that? Was it too expensive? Could you not afford that? We don't really know the situation there, but it just kind of makes sense that when you've got HBO Max coming up and you go to renew your deal with HBO, I'm assuming they tried to negotiate for HBO Max, because why would you not? But at the moment, you've got things like Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves, which is on HBO Max, which doesn't have a UK home and is, I think, a few episodes into the season, I think, at the moment. So yeah, that's a bit of a slip up on Sky's point, but maybe Warner asked for too much money for the deal. I don't know, but at least it's good that they still managed to maintain the HBO part of that deal, so that's good. I've put DC Universe shows, and although they're all going to now be on HBO Max, they're still, you know, DC Universe shows. They're still kind of a little bit in the past, for what I'm about to talk about, they've been a bit of a separate thing, because this HBO Max thing, them transitioning to that, is a very recent thing, so it won't take effect like today. It'll take effect when the next seasons of those shows come out. As we've spoken about before, Titans, Netflix UK, Swamp Thing, Amazon, Stargirl, Amazon, Harley Quinn, E4. Then you've got Young Justice. I've not even got any idea where Young Justice is in the UK. What's the other one that they've got? What's the other show that they've got? You've got Titans, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's cancelled anyway. That's somehow going to air on the CW. I don't know how that's going to work. But you got Stargirl and Titans, Amazon and Netflix. That's a bit of a problem. Harley Quinn, E4. So already you've got 3 of them in completely different places. Granted, E4's a Freeview channel, so you can watch that without paying anyway. You just need, you know, a Freeview box. But if you want to watch Titans and Stargirl, you're going to need both Netflix and Amazon, possibly at different times in the year, possibly not at the same time, but still, it's still 2 different streaming services. Now, it's interesting because all of these shows, all the DC Universe shows, are going to be moving to HBO Max, but there's still no deal set by anyone for HBO Max anyway, so the situation with those DC Universe shows isn't changing, because 1, they're still all in different places. 2, they had a problem in the past where people were picking them up individually. 3, yes, they've moved to HBO Max, but there's no deal in place for any HBO Max shows, so it's still the same situation, which is a bit awkward. So yeah. Alright, and the last one I've got listed here is the CW, which again is a Warner thing. Most of the Arrowverse shows are on Sky One. There's 2 exceptions. Batwoman is on E4 and Black Lightning is on Netflix. Granted, if you've got a full Skybox subscription, you'll get both Sky One and E4 on the same box anyway. So that's not really a problem. If you've got Now TV and you've not got Freeview, you're going to be missing Batwoman. Not that it excuse me. Not that it aired in sync with the Arrowverse shows anyway, but still, it's still part of the universe and it's still in a different place. Black Lightning, which is on Netflix, which got released as a box set, again completely out of sync. It's good for the most part that, you know, with Flash, I was going to say Arrow, but Arrow is finished. With Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl, because they did have 4, the other one was Arrow. Let's just say those 3 shows with Supergirl, Flash, and Legends, even though Supergirl is ending next season. They do have dates relatively close to the CW, mostly for the first half of the season, but definitely not for the second half of the season. Then you've got situations where Riverdale on Netflix, you've got The 100, which is on E4, which is nowhere to be seen at the moment because they haven't aired the final season. You've then got things like Supernatural, which is on E4, and I don't even know what current season E4 is showing for Supernatural. I don't follow the show because I don't watch it at the moment, but that's on E4. You've then got Charmed, which was supposed to be on E4. The second season of that is nowhere to be seen. You've got the upcoming Walker series. Who knows where that's going to air. You've got Superman and Lois, the upcoming Superman series, which granted isn't really too close to airing, but it's better to get a deal done sooner rather than later. That's got no UK home, so who knows where that's going to end up. So yeah, that's already just a few examples. Nancy Drew, I think Nancy Drew got released on the BBC, but that had no UK home during its airing of its season. Nancy Drew's cancelled, I think, but yeah, you got that as well. So yeah, to sum it up, lots of different shows in lots of different places, and that's really not a good thing. To have, like, if you're, I mean, I'm friends with American people, Robert most notably, my co-host on different podcasts, and he'll often ask me, like, hey, have you seen this Hulu show, have you seen this or that? And a surprising amount of the time, I haven't, because the show that he's usually talking about, which sometimes is on Hulu, doesn't have UK homes, and it will get to a point where it's 3 months, 6 months later, the season's come and gone, spoilers are out there in the wild, and, you know, these shows don't have legal UK homes, so what are you supposed to do? Yeah, it's definitely a problem. It's a problem for audience. It's definitely got to be a problem business-wise for some of these channels, because they haven't got these shows that don't have UK homes, therefore they're not making money off of them. You've also got situations like with NBC and ITV have got Superstore, and then Netflix UK had The Good Place, so again they're all over the place, and it's not something that's good. It's quite a frustrating, as someone who, you know, watches a lot of US television, and I think we can argue that the US television shows are some of the biggest in the world. Yeah, whenever I hear about someone talking about, like, oh, this new Hulu show, and, you know, HBO Max is doing this and that, and the two that I get most kind of nervous about, I suppose, is Hulu and HBO Max. One, because, well, Hulu's already been out there for years, and UK channels and streaming services have always been slow to pick those shows up. And then HBO Max, which is starting to ramp up a few pickups for different things. Snyder Cut's a really big one, obviously. The Peacemaker series, the Suicide Squad spin-off with John Cena. Who knows where that's going to end up. You've got Bel Air, which I talked about earlier. Who knows where that's going to end up. So, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. And I think if you're a person listening to this in the UK, you're probably nodding, or hopefully nodding and agreeing with me. And if you're a person who lives outside of the UK, maybe I've just given you a little bit of insight as to how disconnected all of these deals can kind of be. There's shows just sort of floating about all over the place that no one's picked up, or they get picked up months later, and yeah, it's a bit of a problem. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, or maybe concerns. Maybe there's a show in the US that's not got a UK home that you've been really looking forward to, and and you haven't had a chance to see it yet. So let me know. Let me know what show that is. Let me know what network it's on what streaming service. Of course, you've got a different situation as well, and I'll just quickly go over this. Disney Plus, same day. Netflix, same day. Amazon, same day. Apple TV Plus, same day. That's that over and done with. Yeah, it's good that you've got those things in place. You know, when the new episode of The Boys comes out, it's going to be the same day. New season of Stranger Things or The Crown or whatever Netflix show, same day. When the morning show comes back, same day. When The Mandalorian season 2 starts, same day. We need more of that. We really, really do. So we'll see how the future of this all plays out. And I've really been keeping an eye on this, considering, you know, DC Universe relatively new, Disney Plus relatively new, Apple TV Plus quite new, Peacock is very new, HBO Max is very new, and sometimes it's hard to tell what we're going to get over here in terms of things that launch. Now there is the no, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, concerns. Like I said, Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes. Let me know what you think of this situation that UK TV finds themselves in. So, and don't get me started on foreign shows, because that's a whole different ball game with all sorts of different channels and whatever. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. Thank you all very much for listening. You can find everything else that we've got on entertainmenttalk.org. If you want to support the podcast, Entertainment Talk, we are on there. You can have a look at the $1 and $3 level tiers for review, ad-free podcast, and instant podcast options. That's on Patreon. Amazon affiliate link. If you're buying stuff on Amazon, we can get a small cut of what you spend. It won't cost you extra. iTunes feeds, please rate, review, subscribe to those. Other people's work, you can find David on geektown.co.uk if you want to find out if, when and where your favourite TV shows are arriving, where they're arriving, what date, what time, and if they're ever going to arrive on a channel or streaming service. So keep your eyes on geektown.co.uk and of course Geektown Radio on iTunes. New episodes on Tuesdays, so have a look out for those. Bex is doing some fun geeky chatter and gaming stuff over on Twitch. You can follow her, subscribe to her. Trista Bytes, that's Trista Bytes on Twitch. Have a look out for her on there as well. Word of mouth, you can tell people that you know about the website, iTunes feeds, all of our content, and David and Bex's stuff as well. Social media, of course, share them on Facebook, Twitter, and if you can in different Facebook groups. And lastly, Let's Play Sundays, look out for those episodes on Sundays. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time for episode 2 of Analysing Television, or whatever we do next. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.